All right, good evening, everyone. It is 7 o'clock. We'll call the meeting to order. Please rise and join me for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, good evening. So we have two proclamations to start the evening. I will come up and read those. Rotary here. You went from the chamber? Okay, that's right. All right, so proclamation number one is for Chambers of Commerce. And whereas Chambers of Commerce strive to address the community's top challenges and greatest opportunities through bold leadership and innovative problem solving, and whereas Chambers of Commerce fosters stronger, more vibrant communities by advocating for priorities to promote economic prosperity, enhance quality of life, and create access to meaningful employment and opportunity for all residents, and whereas Chambers of Commerce are champions of communities, serving as a trusted resource for businesses, residents, and other stakeholders, and whereas Chambers of Commerce create catalytic community partnerships to build resilient economies and promote community-wide prosperity. Whereas Gardner Chamber of Commerce was incorporated in 1975 and supports and represents local businesses through advocacy, events, and marketing, and promotes local tourism through various regional organizations. Now therefore be resolved that I, Todd Winters, Mayor of the City of Gardner, Kansas, do hereby proclaim October 15th, 2025 as Support Your Local Chamber of Commerce Day. The City of Gardner encourage residents and businesses to learn more about the Chamber, its impact, and support of local businesses. And the next one is for World Polio Day. This one is a little bit more. Whereas Rotary International, founded on February 23rd, 1905 in Chicago, Illinois, USA, is the world's first and one of the largest nonprofit service organizations. And whereas Rotary is a global network consisting of over 1.4 million members in more than 46,000 clubs, 221 countries and geographical areas unite to take action to create lasting change in communities across the globe. And whereas the Rotary motto is service above self, inspires members to provide humanitarian service, follow high ethical standards, and promote goodwill and peace in the world. And whereas Rotary in 1985 launched Polio Plus, and in 1988 helped establish the Global Polio Eradication Initiative, which today includes the World Health Organization, the U.S. Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, UNICEF, and the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, and Gavi, the Vaccine Alliance, to immunize children of the world against polio. And whereas polio cases have dropped by 99.9% since 1988, and the world stands on the threshold of eradicating the disease, and whereas today Rotary has contributed more than $2.6 billion in countless volunteer efforts to protecting nearly 3 billion children in 122 countries. And whereas Rotary is working to raise an additional $50 million per year, which would be leveraged for maximum impact by an additional $100 million annually from the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. And whereas these efforts are providing much needed operational support, medical staff, laboratory equipment, and educational materials for health workers and parents. And whereas in addition, Rotary has played a major role in decisions by donor governments to contribute more than $10 billion to the effort. And whereas there are 48 members of the Rotary Club of Gardner, also a member of that club, who sponsor service projects to address such critical issues as poverty, disease, hunger, literacy, and the environment in our local community abroad. And whereas Gardner Rotarians have committed their time, talent, and treasure to continue support of the Polio Plus until polio is finally eradicated from the earth, contributing $3,800 over the last 3 years. Now therefore be resolved that I, Todd Winters, Mayor of the City of Gardner, Kansas, do hereby proclaim October 24th, 2025 as World Polio Day. The City of Gardner encourage all citizens to participate in this observance. Thank you. All right, so we'll move to public comments. Members of the public are welcome to use this time to make comments about city matters or items that are not on the agenda, or are on the agenda that are not part of the public hearing. If you wish to come forward, please limit your comments to 5 minutes or less. There is a 5-minute time clock on your left. That being said, come forward, state your name and address for the record, and the podium is now open. Welcome. Come forward.
Good evening. I'm sure you remember me. My name is John Allen. I live at Plum Ridge subdivision. It's at 830 South Sycamore Street if you wish to drop by and take a look at my house. Okay? I'm proud of my house. It's extremely well landscaped. It looks very nice. And the neighbors even comment when they come by how nice the front of the house looks. That's not why I'm here. I'm here for this mosquito problem. Okay? I have been informed less than 10 minutes ago that the situation is more than what I anticipated. The problem is we've located some of the people who have the HOA, and they're telling the officer that they don't have the money to actually treat the areas that need to be treated. So I've got another suggestion for you. I don't wish to come up here and complain without giving you some way of solving a problem. If you look at the interstate where we're putting in the exchange right now on I-35 and where all those warehouses are being built, there is a ton of dirt that they're going to have to get rid of. They've got to get rid of it somehow. Would it be possible for the city to contact these people and see if we could get some of that dirt for little or no money and start with the little areas? Obviously, the one that's down there next to the car wash is not little. That will take truckloads and truckloads of dirt to fill that in. But the smaller ones, the one small one that's right next to Mid-America Bank, that's probably not larger than this room, it would probably take 1 or 2 truckloads and we could literally fill that in completely. The one that's next to the liquor store, right there by the liquor store, that's the one that's by Mid-America also. If you go down 183rd Street and you go to the very next subdivision, on the left-hand side, there is another smaller area there. Again, a little bit larger than this room probably, and that could be filled in with dirt. Now that's some way that we can start it. It's not going to finish the job. We've still got to figure out what we're going to do about these larger bodies of water. Now, I've been waiting for my HOA to give me a call and tell me that they're going to raise my dues because we're going to have to start doing more as far as treating our ponds. Plum Ridge does treat it. If you take a look at it, you will see that it has been treated, but it's still not treated enough. And in order to do this, now here's something that you have not considered. How do mosquitoes actually do their breeding? The females have to have blood, and that's why the females are the ones that bite you. And I know that for a fact. My wife did it a lot. So anyway, well, I don't have a wife as a result. So anyhow, you have got at least three restaurants there, and maybe 4, okay? And what do they sell? They sell hamburgers. That is red meat. Do you have any idea what Patrick Mahomes is going to say when I advise him about the situation where his restaurant is located? Do you have any idea how your phone's going to start ringing and ask you what in the heck is going on with the city of Gardner? Why am I going to have to worry about my customers with a mosquito in their hamburger because the mosquitoes landed on there when they were cooking them and they died after they hit the grill, but they still bear the infection that they carry? You try to look at me like I'm not very smart, that I just don't know what I'm talking about. But there were 700 million people that died last year from a mosquito. 700 million. I made a mistake when I told the officer it was 1,000. It's not 1,000, it's million all over the world. Died from a mosquito bite.
sir.
This
5
situation,
minutes is,
this situation is not going to get cleared up immediately. I understand that, but we've got to keep your foot on the pedal.
Gotcha,
Are we clear?
gotcha.
Thank you.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you, John.
All right, any other public comments? Okay. With no other public comment, we will move to consent agenda. Is there an item on the consent agenda council would like to remove? Do I hear a motion to approve consent agenda?
Second.
Motion McNear, second Shoot. We approve the consent agenda. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Abstained? Consent agenda passes. No planning and zoning consent, no old business, no committee recommendations. We'll move to new business. New business item number 1, consider adopting an ordinance authorizing the city of Gardner, Kansas to issue its industrial revenue bonds taxable under federal law, Series 2025, New Trails Multifamily Phase 2 project, in the principal amount not to exceed $29 million for the purpose of acquiring, constructing, and equipping a multifamily residential development and authorizing the execution of certain documents in connection with the issuance of the bonds. Mr. Wolf.
Good evening, Mayor, Council. On June 3rd, 2024, the City Council approved Resolution Number 2142, declaring the intent of the city to issue industrial revenue bonds at approximately the principal amount of $29 million for the purpose of financing, acquisition, construction, and equipping of a multifamily apartment project within the city, New Trails Multifamily Phase 2. Council's act of passing this ordinance authorizes both the issuance of IRBs and the execution of associated documents. The bond shall not be a general obligation of the city. For the terms of the development agreement between the city and Grata Development, there's a 75% property tax abatement for 10 years on the multifamily residential portion of the project. The city's bond counsel, Emma Kate Dillon of Kutak Rock, is here tonight to help answer any questions. Staff recommends adopting the proposed ordinance.
Thank you, Matt. Do we have any public comment on new business item number 1? Council, do you have questions, comments? Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Motion Deaton, second McNear. We adopt ordinance number 2852, an ordinance authorizing the city of Gardner, Kansas to issue its industrial revenue bonds taxable under federal law, Series 2025 New Trails Multifamily Phase 2 project, in the principal amount not to exceed $29 million for the purpose of acquiring, constructing, and equipping a multifamily residential development and authorizing the execution of certain documents in connection with the issuance of the bonds. City Clerk?
Councilmember Shute.
Yes.
Councilmember McNear.
Yes.
Councilmember Baldwin.
Yes.
Councilmember Deaton.
Yes.
Councilmember Ween.
Yes.
Ordinance number 2852 passes. Thank you. New business item number 2, consider adopting an ordinance amending Title 13, Utilities Code of the City of Gardner, Kansas, 2008, increasing various rates and charges and amending or repealing all ordinances or regulations not in conformity herewith. Ms. Foster.
Good evening, Mayor and City Council. Even though this item has been adopted as part of the budget, staff wanted to present the details of what the multi-year rates and impact will look like, and then ask that the governing body pass an ordinance amending Gardner Municipal Code Title 13, Utilities Chapters 13.15.010 and 13.40.010 to adopt the water and wastewater multiple year rate increases. My presentation.
It's the next one.
Oh, there it is. Okay.
I did it.
Okay. The 2026 budget, which was adopted on September 2nd, 2025, included a proposed multi-year 4.7% water rate increase and a 4.2 multi-year wastewater rate increase. So we will start with water. In 2019, a 3.7% rate increase was approved for water beginning in 2020 and scheduled through 2030. The 2026 proposed increase is an additional 1% increase and adds an additional year. The proposed rate increase is a total of 4.7% annually, starting in 2026 and will go through 2031. The rate increases will impact all rate classes of customers. So I thought we would start with the base rate. And so our 5/8 meters are currently at $16.75, and would go up to $17.54. So that's our biggest rate of base customers, with 8,217 active customers in that rate class. And then our 1% meters, our 1-inch meters would go from $20.97 to $21.96. 1.5-inch meters would go from $31.76 to $33.25. 2-inch meters, which is our second largest class of meters outside of that 5/8, would go from $58.90 to $61.67. Our 3-inch meters are $103.10 currently, and would go to $107.95. And our 4-inch meters will go from $180.43 to $188.91. And then I also put together for our residential customer inside and exchange rates for 1,000 gallons, just a graph so that you could see what the rates look like across that 6-year period. Most of our customers, those residential customers, do fall in the 1,000 to 6,000 gallons. On average, they use a total of 5,000 gallons per month. And then instead of going through all that, we'll just let you look at that. And then outside rates, which are higher, that's kind of our Gardner Lake area. The average customer out there also uses in the 1,000 to 6,000 range. And so now we will look at a few different residential rate impacts based on small, average, and large residential users. A small user, which is 3,000 gallons, we see that in a lot of our apartments that actually have their own water meter. And so they will see an impact of approximately $1.86 per month over the first year. The average customer who uses the 5,000 gallons will see a first-year impact of approximately $2.54 per month, where a large residential user, which is 11,000 gallons of water, could see an average increase of $4.67 per month. And then our non-residential customers, the impact is based on that service charge plus 20,000 gallons. So when we look at all of our commercial customers, it still looks like our average would come to about 20,000 per month. And so that average consumption of our non-residential customers, besides that standard 5/8 meter, is going to see an average increase of $10.58 per month. And then, of course, as they get bigger, you see that it goes all the way up to that $16.30 for our 4-inch meters, which we actually only have 3 customers on that rate class. And so that kind of goes through a quick summation of the water rates and what that would look like. So we'll move on to wastewater. The proposed rate increase is a total of 4.2% annually, starting in 2026 as well, and will go through 2031. The rate increases will also impact all rate classes of customers. These increases are needed to support the expansion of the Kill Creek Water Recovery Facility and sewer conveyance system improvements. So in our first year of changes, you're looking at a service charge change for all of our customers, water residential and non-residential. So that includes your commercial customers and school district as well. And so it'll go from $15.54 up to $16.19. And then the per 1,000 gallon is $9.93 to $10.35. And then we also have our wastewater only customers. And so that also was impacted by the rate increase. And so most of what we have out there, we have 114 customers currently. The majority of those customers are between the residential and the multifamily customers. So our residential are going to be $65.21 to $67.95 per month. And then our multifamily, which is per unit, is going to be $35.41 to $36.90. And so we'll go back to our residential customers and talk about what that impact looks for our average. So our average residential customer is also 5,000 gallons of sewer. So their average bill is going to go from $65.19 to $67.95. So that'll be an impact of $2.76 per month that first year. And then we did go ahead and classify it out to the 2031 mark for your review. And then on our flat rate wastewater calculation, the majority of those customers are going to see an increase of $2.74 for the residential. And then for our multifamily, it'll be $1.49 per month per unit because they do have 1 meter per building. And so that service charge impacts each of the units, not the meters. And out there also, we have a medium commercial customer, and so their impact will be approximately $3.99 per month for that first year. And that's something that we always kind of like to see is how we stack up against other cities in our area that have the same services. And so we're not the highest, but we're also not the lowest. And so I think as we are growing and we're seeing the projects that we have, we're in the ballpark. And then just as a quick, to see it all kind of on the bar graph, can kind of see that when you look at the total impact, what that looks like. And so the staff just would ask that we recommend that the governing body pass an ordinance amending Gardner Municipal Code Title 13, Utilities, Chapter 13.15.010 and 13.40.010 to adopt the water and wastewater multi-year rate increases that were included in the 2026 budget. I'll just turn it back over to you.
Thank you. Do we have any public comment? Or any business item number 2? Council, do you have questions?
Yeah, I've got a couple. And I know that we're hiring a new utilities director today, so it'd be good to ask this question of them. But I know that we had a pretty aggressive I&I program that we had tried to implement to keep stormwater out of our sewer system and to help keep our gallons of utilization out of in a little bit of check. Where are we on that? I know that we have a lot of capital that we have to pay, and that's the reason why we got the rate increases. But if we're going to have any efficiencies for the customer, the best way to do that would probably try to make it more efficient on the wastewater side. So I'm looking at the wastewater rates specifically, and they are outpacing our water rates significantly, and they're higher than other municipalities around our county. So we've got to get a handle on I&I. And I thought that was why we put that investment in for that program.
Yes, and I do know they had a staged program, but I will be honest with you, I'm not sure, so I'm gonna refer to Matt over here and see what he comes on.
Yeah.
They have had a couple projects, and we originally budgeted for this. I want to say it's somewhere around $300,000 a year. But what they were running into is sometimes the projects would be more than that. So what they would do is skip a year, then double up the funding for the next year, basically. So doesn't mean they have a major I&I project every year, but they try to accumulate enough funds to basically execute something that's meaningful.
Okay. All right. So from the perspective of the long-term viability of our wastewater system and network, processing is great, but we also have to keep the inflow out of our system if we can. And so the investment on the I&I side is it's preventative maintenance, in my opinion. And I think we probably need to try to make that a priority going forward. I mean, I'm looking at you, Mark, because you're the guy who runs the numbers on this stuff.
When we passed that program, I mean, we did all the investigation, with the smoke testing and cameras and everything else. And then, like Matt said, we're trying to do what we can as we go. But to be clear, I think that's a separate issue here. Yes, we need to do that to
Well, I'm looking at the
reduce
rates.
I&I.
Yeah, I'm looking
but
at
that's
the
not
rates.
going to affect these rates, because the reason they're going up is because we're building new plants.
Oh, no, I get
expanding
that.
plants.
I'm talking about consumption. I'm talking about the consumption.
Right, but that still wouldn't change these at all. Even if we get I&I to zero, these were to take care of capital improvements. So I think that's a separate conversation. Sure, we should keep talking about it and improving I&I efficiency, 100%. But I don't think it really affects this.
No, I'm not. This is beyond the rates conversation. We have to pay for the capital.
Okay.
As I said, that's what we have been discussing. I'm trying to look at the ways to be able to make it less painful on the residents to pay the rates for the higher amounts of effluent that are going through our wastewater system.
Hold on. Oh, the amount that goes through the wastewater system I&I has nothing to do with the residential charge.
It's a flat rate. Yeah, I understand.
Right, it's a calculation. There's no meter catching it.
No.
So even if I&I is zero, again, these numbers don't change. That's separate. I mean, literally separate.
It impacts our capacity, though.
It does impact capacity, but we're increasing and we're trying to improve I&I, but that wouldn't change these numbers. We still have to pay for the capital improvements.
Okay. All right.
So, it's separate.
I just want to make sure we're on top of that still. That's all.
And I was going to say, I know one thing, and I did not investigate this when I did the comparison, was to see, I know there's been talk about stormwater fees. I'm looking over you, Kelly. And so that at this time, the city doesn't have stormwater fees. And so, and I don't know if any of these communities do. I would be honest, I didn't look at that, but that might be something that we wanted to look at as well. See if that makes any different on an I&I program.
I would expect most of them do have a stormwater fee, but I don't know if it's calculated in those rates.
Yeah. So.
And one thing, I'm glad you actually brought that up, because there is actually some things in the budget that are addressing the I&I. If you remember, we added some staff to utilities over the last couple of years as they're building another crew. I believe they're getting like a new camera van to basically help do more inspections to address that problem.
Good. That's what I wanted to hear. Thank you.
Councilman McNair?
I had a couple of questions just for understanding.
Okay.
I don't necessarily have a problem with increasing the demand rate or usage rate. But when we see the base rate or the service charge rate go up at double the rate of inflation, I'd like to kind of get an understanding where that's coming from.
So when we originally done our rate study with, I think it was Burns and Mac, one of the things that we considered was when you raise a base rate, you know what that dollar's going to look like. We know that we have this many customers. That's what that increase looks like. So in usage, when you raise rates, you also hope to see maybe some conservative measures being taken. So it's not a guarantee based on usage what you're bringing in financially. And so that base rate is considered so that you do know that rate is coming in because of the number of customers, the active customers. It may fluctuate a little, but not as much as your usage does.
That's correct. And just to add on to that, we've been both in the water and wastewater utilities. We've had a lot of capital projects taking on a lot of debt. That annual principal and interest payment happens every single year. And our revenues can vary quite a bit with basically weather patterns. So we need to have some fixed revenue coming in to help cover our costs.
Is there any way, Matt, to maybe reduce the increase of the base rate a little bit and maybe shift a little bit of that income that we would be giving up over to the demand rates or the usage rates, especially on the higher end?
We can look at that, but I would say let's not just kind of, we need to do some research and model things out to see what our options are.
Okay, that's all.
Any other questions, council?
No, I mean, we talked about this, 5-6 years ago, and we knew it was coming. It was a necessity. Otherwise, we'd still have water rationing days, and wastewater wouldn't be able to keep up. So, I mean, I think we did a good job of spreading it over 10 years. Yes, it's an increase, and it's bad over 10 years, but at least it's not a huge hit at once. And obviously, one thing that's nice about spreading it out too is people that have lived here for a long time, in year one, they're not getting hit with the full freight. And as more people come into the city, more businesses, more residents, that helps offset some of that. There's a chance that we can change some of these numbers in the out years. No guarantees, we got to model it conservatively, but there's always the chance with future growth that the numbers can be either flat, like let's say for 8 years, 8, 9, 10 or something.
I guess, Mark, I appreciate that. I agree with you for the most part. What I'm really kind of looking for is some way that our citizens can control their expenses a little better by conservation and reducing the consumption. And the people that want to consume more water and more sewer pay for the luxury of doing so.
My bigger concern, Mark, is that we had our 10-year 3.7% increase plan. Now we've increased it by 1%, which is over 25% above the 3.7, and we've extended it a year because our expenses are actually outpacing even what we expected them to be, and that is a red flag to me, and I understand why, because
Well, right.
the cost of credit or the cost of capital is going up.
Oh, the
Right,
cost.
right. But when you have a project that goes from 12 million to 30 million,
I understand that.
you got to
I
do
agree.
something to affect. We can't just go. Well, that's what we agreed
No,
to.
I
and
understand
We can't pay
that.
the bill.
I just don't know what's going to keep that from happening again. That's my question.
What do you mean? I mean, this tells you what it's going to be for these 10 years. Well, we're already into it, and then this is dead. There's no reason to continue this after that.
So the cost of this isn't going to go up again,
I mean, if you have another capital project, who knows? But until then, no.
like our new lines that are coming from the water treatment plant.
That's part of this.
Are the
Yes.
parallel lines
in.
part of
Yes.
this water
The new
treatment?
transmission line.
All of that
yes,
was
is-
factored
It is
in.
included.
Yes,
In the
yes, it
increase?
is.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
All right. Okay. I just wanted to see if there's any way that the cost can be shifted over to consumption a little bit more off the base rate, that's all. We can look at that later.
It's a concern. That's all. I'm just.
Do I hear
Get
a
up.
motion for the ordinance?
Moved.
Second.
Motion Deaton, second McNair. We adopt ordinance 2853, amending Title 13 Utilities Code of the City of Gardner, Kansas, 2008, increasing various rates and charges, and amending or repealing all ordinances or regulations not in conformity herewith.
Councilmember McNair.
Yes.
Councilmember Baldwin.
Yes.
Councilmember Deaton.
Yes.
Councilmember Wheat.
Yes.
Councilmember Shute.
Yes. Sorry.
Ordinance
I zoned out.
2853 passes.
Thank
I zoned
you.
out. Sorry.
New business item number 3, consider accepting voluntary annexations with landowner consent.
Good evening. This is a request to voluntarily annex a tract of land west of Locust on 191st Street. This tract will provide access to 2 larger parcels of land already in the city directly to the north, where the New Life Christian Academy is proposed to be built. Recommend a motion to accept the voluntary consent annexation for the property owner identified and adopt ordinance number 2851, annexing land into the city of Gardner.
public comment for this new business item number 3? I think so. Council, any questions? Do I hear a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Motion Deaton, second Shoot. We adopt ordinance number 28. We accept the voluntary consent annexation agreements from the property owner identified within and adopt ordinance number 2851, an ordinance annexing land to the city of Gardner, Kansas.
Councilmember Baldwin.
Yes.
Councilmember Deaton.
Yes.
Councilmember Wee.
Yes.
Councilmember Shute.
Yes.
Councilmember McNair.
Yes.
Ordinance number 2851 passes. New business item number 4, consider adopting a resolution authorizing the construction of certain sewerage system improvements and authorizing general obligation bonds to be issued in an amount not to exceed $41,565,000 to pay the cost of such improvements, all pursuant to KSA 12-617 and 12-618. Mr. Matt.
On May 6, 2024, the City Council approved Resolution 2139, authorizing the construction of certain sewerage improvements, the Kill Creek Water Resource Recovery Facility Phase 2 expansion, and authorizing general obligation bonds to be issued in an amount not to exceed $37,555,000. On June 17, 2024, the City Council awarded the Progressive Design Build Phase 2 construction services contract in an amount not to exceed $39.45 million. Project cost, including both pre-construction and construction services, is approximately $40.75 million. The proposed ordinance updates the authorized amount of general obligation bonds to reflect the revised total project costs, including the cost of issuance. Staff recommends adopting the proposed resolution.
Thank you, Matt. Is there any public comment? Council, do you have questions about this item? Your motion?
So moved.
Second.
Motion Deaton, second Shoot. We adopt resolution number 2182, resolution amending resolution number 2139 of the city authorizing the construction of certain sewerage system improvements and authorizing general obligation bonds to be issued in an amount not to exceed $41,565,000 to pay the cost of such improvements, all pursuant to KSA 12-617 and 12-618.
Councilmember Deaton.
Yes.
Councilmember Wee.
Yes.
Councilmember Shute.
Yes.
Councilmember McNair.
Yes.
Councilmember Baldwin.
Yes.
Resolution 2182 passes. New business item number 5, consider adopting an ordinance authorizing the issuance of general obligation bonds in an amount not to exceed $18,115,000 to pay the cost of certain water system improvements, all pursuant to Charter Ordinance number 28 of the City of Gardner, Kansas.
On August 19, 2024, the City Council approved ordinance number 2808, authorizing the issuance of general obligation bonds in an amount not to exceed $3.7 million for the Hillsdale Water Take structure project. At the council budget retreat on March 4th, 2025, the Utilities Director provided an updated cost estimate of $17.76 million for the project. The main difference is we had a placeholder in CIP for mostly pre-construction costs. The higher number reflects the full pre-construction and construction services cost, plus cost escalation since the project was first identified. This was included into the 26-2030 CIP, and is included in our water rate structure. The proposed ordinance updates the authorized amount of general obligation bonds to reflect the revised total project cost, including the cost of issuance. Staff recommends adopting the proposed ordinance.
Thank you, Matt. Any public comment? New business item number 5. Council, any questions? Do I hear a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Motion McNair, second Deaton. We adopt ordinance number 2854, an ordinance amending ordinance number 2808 of the city authorizing the issuance of general obligation bonds in an amount not to exceed $18,115,000 to pay the cost of certain water system improvements, all pursuant to Charter Ordinance number 28 of the city of Gardner, Kansas.
Councilmember Wee.
Yes.
Councilmember Shute.
Yes.
Councilmember McNair.
Yes.
Councilmember Baldwin.
Yes.
Councilmember Deaton.
Yes.
Ordinance number 2854 passes. New business item number 6, consider adopting an ordinance amending a prior ordinance of the city authorizing the issuance of general obligation bonds in an amount not to exceed $5,010,000 to pay the cost of certain electric system improvements, all pursuant to Charter Ordinance number 28 of the city of Gardner, Kansas, gas turbine unit 2 upgrade.
On November 4th, 2024, the City Council awarded a gas turbine Unit 2 major inspection and upgrade service contract to Allied Power Group. The estimated project cost for Unit 2 upgrade was $3.7 million. On January 21st, 2025, City Council approved ordinance number 2822, authorizing the issuance of about $3.88 million in general obligation bonds to pay for the project. Then later on May 5th, 2025, City Council authorized an additional $1.25 million. That was because during this project, they identified issues with the generator rotor and accessory gearbox. So the updated project estimate was increased to $4.91 million during the 26-2030 CIP program. Proposed ordinance updates the authorized amount of general obligation bonds to reflect the revised total project cost, including the cost of issuance. Staff recommends adopting the proposed ordinance.
Thank you, Matt. Any public comments? Council, any questions? Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Motion Shute, second McNair, to adopt ordinance number 2855, an ordinance amending ordinance number 2822 of the city authorizing the issuance of general obligation bonds in an amount not to exceed $5,010,000 to pay the cost of certain electric system improvements, all pursuant to Charter Ordinance number 28 of the city of Gardner, Kansas, gas turbine unit 2 upgrade.
Councilmember Shute.
Yes.
Councilmember McNair.
Yes.
Councilmember Baldwin.
Yes.
Councilmember Dean.
Yes.
Councilmember Weed.
Yes.
Ordinance number 2855 passes. New business item number 7, consider appointing David Hunter to the position of Utilities Director. Mr. Prudy.
All right, this candidate was identified and recommended as a qualified candidate by a recruiter, Insight Global. He was interviewed along with an inside candidate by the selection committee, which consisted of myself, Deputy City Administrator, the Community Development Director, Public Works Director, and Communications Manager. After an extensive interview where we reviewed his experience in electric, water, wastewater, which he has experience in all those. He has experience with purchase contracts and every element of the job that's required. He was the unanimous choice of the committee. Recommend that we appoint David Hunter as the Utilities Director.
Mr. Prudy, any public comment? Council, do you have any questions or comments?
I'd love to hear from Kellen, because you were shaking, you were nodding your head yes when the city administrator was talking. I just wanted to know. I know he's not here; he couldn't be here because of travel issues. But what was your impression of our new utilities director?
Mostly just that he has a very large amount of experience in all of the elements of our utility system and was very knowledgeable about them, was very,
Excellent.
very qualified.
All right, excellent. I mean, it's going to be hard to fill Gonza's shoes. I mean, because he was so much. He was a very, very good utilities director. But sounds like we've got a good choice. So thank you for your participation.
Do we know starting time? If
I think we're still looking at the 3rd.
November 3rd. Okay. Thank you.
all right, any other questions, comments? Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Motion Shute, second Deaton, we appoint David Hunter as Utilities Director. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Abstain? David Hunter is our new Utilities Director. Welcome, David, wherever you are. New business item number 8, consider approving a lease agreement for city-owned property.
So this has gone back and forth a little bit. Originally, they were going to lease it, but because of taxes and stuff, we went ahead and did a purchase agreement. We will own the building. We're closing on October 28th. They have purchased the Groundhouse South building for their new business. They're going to do renovation and expansion that will take up to 12 months. This lease agreement incorporates the terms we initially discussed, $1,000 a month. They can end it early if the new building is ready. So the recommendation is to authorize me to execute the agreement to lease city-owned property 104 East Main for a period up to 12 months.
Okay, thank you. Any public comment? Council, any questions or comments? Do I hear a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Motion Deaton, second McNair, to authorize the city administrator to execute the agreement to lease the city-owned property at 104 East Main Street for a period of 12 months. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Abstained? New business item 8 passes. All right, so we'll move to council updates. Let's start with Parks and Rec. Jason.
Couple things. Excuse me. We have Boo Bash this Thursday. Excuse me. It starts at 5:30 for low sensory, and then 6 o'clock till 8:30 for our regular Boo Bash. So hope the weather cooperates. If you guys come out, come play some games, eat some candy. So other thing I wanted to bring up, I forgot to a couple meetings ago. Our opening weekend at soccer, we had a patron go into cardiac arrest first week of games, and we ended up having the gentleman's son was a firefighter, and there was a nurse, and they immediately started CPR on the gentleman while our seasonal staff got the AED. It was connected to him. He was breathing. We utilized the corner flags to bring in emergency vehicles. It was just a really good response from seasonal employees, and so I wanted to give them a good kudos for that. So
That's
what a way
awesome.
to start the year. So
Yeah, that's amazing.
He's okay now?
he had heart surgery a few Fridays ago, I think. So yeah, it was pretty intense for the opening weekend of soccer, but really proud of how staff responded.
Yeah, that's excellent. Brewster.
Yes, next Monday is our planning commission meeting, and we have 6 development applications that you will see shortly thereafter.
Kellen, Public Works.
Nothing further tonight?
The things are installed on the
Interconnect?
Yeah, the connections with the traffic lights.
Yeah, so I would mention, we will continue to monitor how the signal timing is working over the next period of time. Some of them will be tweaked. Some changes, I think, were made, and we're seeing how they work, and if they need to be changed back or adjusted. That'll happen over the next short period.
So if I'm sitting in a light too long, I'll just text you. Tweak it.
We
got
can
that
pull,
remote
we can
control
pull up a
on.
camera and see.
Okay, all right.
And your staff can do that?
Yeah, so we can remotely monitor several of the intersections now to see how things are operating and adjust or check maintenance.
Awesome, thank you. Please.
Regarding the mosquito complaint, we are working on identifying and communicating with 2 of the neighborhoods who we believe that the HOA might be insolvent or dissolved. We are starting to work on the abatement process to abate the mosquitoes. What we're trying to determine now is if we should spray now before the eggs are laid before the winter, or wait till the spring. So we're still working through that, but we are working on it.
Can maybe Kellen, I assume you talked about filling some of those in. I assume those are draining.
Retention ponds.
Yeah.
You
Can't
drain them.
Yeah.
Yeah, if it's filling a stormwater function, we wouldn't be able to do that.
Yep.
Create more.
We were just talking about stormwater. We don't want to lose one of our big tools to keep the stormwater out of our system. Yeah.
City Clerk.
The first meeting in December conflicts with the mayor's tree lighting again. So we want to move that to the Tuesday.
Okay.
Or just do it at 8 o'clock like we did last year?
I think there's.
Well, we have
There's
installation ceremony.
installation.
so-
No. Tuesday.
Does it work for everyone?
No. Sure, I'll make it work. Yeah, I might not be there.
Wow.
El Presidente.
We show up. Anything else?
That's it, sorry.
Matt, finance?
Nothing more tonight.
Amy? City Attorney?
Nothing.
If you recall, Faith Chapel came in and requested us to try to work something out with them for them to expand the parking lot. We met with them. I believe we have a verbal agreement on how we can both benefit from that, from them expanding the parking lot, having shared access agreement and access to Veterans Park. So
Good.
I think that'll work out well.
Awesome.
Thanks.
I think you mentioned what I was gonna mention, which was the whole thing about the retention ponds. I mean, those are there for a reason. We don't expect them to get stagnant and get filled with algae. So I think that the mitigation things that we're trying to do through our quotes people will help with that. But ultimately, I think that we probably need to have a better conversation with some of the residents out there, regardless of whether or not they have an HOA, because those are definitely breeding grounds. Shouldn't be, but they are. I'm thinking particularly around Sherman Lake, because that used to be very well maintained, and now it's kind of falling apart a little bit.
Well, that HOA is trying to potentially raise enough money to dredge that.
Yeah, I know. But they lost the fountain, and then it got stagnant, and the one over by Aspen Creek is a mess. It's been that way for years. I think some of it's because of construction runoff. But we do have to have that addressed, so I'm glad that you're still on top of it. Thank you. That's all I have.
We still have some city-owned areas where the mosquitoes breed well. And it runs along just parallel to Center Street, along by the group home, like a little creek thing, drainage area there. It was under Colleen.
Oh, yes,
There's
yeah,
always
yeah.
standing water in there, and that breeds mosquitoes very well too. That's city property.
Yeah. Well, maybe our solution, we can then, apply that to multiple.
What's the location you're speaking about?
It's right next to the group home. It runs full length parallel between Colleen.
Okay.
It runs perpendicular to Colleen, runs parallel to Center Street. From the
It's that
basically
back, it's those back lots right to the west.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
it runs parallel
Sure,
down.
we can look into that. Work public works on that.
Yeah, that's
It
always
gets hot. It gets pretty. It got over the banks this summer.
Yeah, it's been a drainage problem for a long time though. That's very, very flat over there. And so when the rain comes in, it really fills that up.
Oh,
and then
flooded
and then it'll
into the
just sit there.
It flooded
Yeah.
into the neighborhood with that 5-inch rain this summer.
Yeah.
And,
So-
Well, it would have been worse if Kellen hadn't cleaned it out for me a year ago.
I know.
Yeah.
Councilman McNair, do you have anything?
Yeah, I do. First off, Jason, soccer fields look good. Great job maintaining. I've had a couple of questions because maybe a couple of accesses in the ditch along 167. People that park along the gravel road, access the fields. We mow everything but the ditch.
159.
Yeah, 159th.
159th, I'm sorry, yes.
We don't want them driving in the ditch.
No, I didn't. I said mow a couple of accesses for people to walk through. Park, you know 2 or 3 accesses, 4 feet wide, 5 feet wide. So people can
Oh,
see.
I know what you're talking about. I think they're trying to discourage people from
Yeah,
parking on that road at
people
all
parking
because
on that
it's
road.
it's very dangerous regardless.
Cars parked there.
Yeah, I mean we have enough capacity in the parking lot that's there at Celebration. I know we need to do some pothole filling and stuff like that. That's always been it's an ongoing issue, but I know it's difficult for folks who have the littles like way on the other side over by the street, but 159th, and I think that we've actually put up no parking signs there before.
We have.
But
I think,
it's just that's very dangerous, and
I think if we wanted to discourage it, no parking signs would be a good solution.
Well, that's
Yes,
but I mean, if people are parking there, they shouldn't be parking there. So they should be using the parking lots there at Celebration because it's safer for everyone, especially the little kids, because that's where those fields are. They're facing 159th Street, and those are all the little kids.
How about people that can't really easily navigate the distance between the parking lot and the fields?
Well, they have ramps and sidewalks. I mean,
Yeah, there's handicap stalls up front.
yeah.
Okay, and a couple other items too. Just tonight, I'd like everybody to think about ways we can, as we have capital projects going forward, we're seeing, from the time they hit the CMP to being implemented, it's 200 or 300% increases in the expense of what we imagined. And, there's no way to really get your arms around that and plan for it. And I wanted to see if there's any way we could kind of try to capture that a little better, so it isn't quite as big of a sticker shock to us.
And that's atypical if you look back over the years. It was just because of the COVID years and the inflation and the supply shortages and things that hit us. Because the CIP, you know, you're going 5 years out and don't anticipate those things. That's not going to be the norm. We'll do much better.
So you anticipate it not going up as quickly as it did?
No, and we'll be able to better estimate what it's going to be in 5 years.
Well, last item I had was, you know, adding additional capacity for residents in the city is a great thing. It really is. When we abate 75% of the tax, and I know abatements over the long haul don't really cost much, if anything at all. We actually come out better on the backside. But when we're strapped for money now and we're giving up 75% of the property tax of new apartments, and those residents are not helping contribute to the expenses of the city whatsoever at a 25% rate. Seems like there's something we could be doing globally with the rental market.
So the reason for that is because we gave them the 75%. It was a special deal to get across I-35.
Right, I understand.
So phase 2 is just still tied to the original agreement.
So the point is we're needing revenue. There's no way to recoup revenue from the residents of these new apartments when we give 75% of the property taxes built into their rent.
I get that, but we're not going to go back on our agreement that we already
I
had.
didn't say that.
So what
There may be ways that we could derive rental income, $20 occupancy tax or something globally across the rental base. And say to a landlord, if you got tenants in your rental, they owe $20 a month per apartment. We charge $17 a night room occupancy tax for hotels.
Yeah, but they're transients, they're not living here.
You can't do that. That's an illegal tax.
Yeah.
Under Kansas law. There were programs for a period of time where you could do residential rental inspections where people were charging fees, but they passed the statute.
That's impractical. We talked about that.
But you can't just impose a tax as a municipality. It has to be, I mean, there are only certain permissible taxes that municipalities can levy. That's not one of them. You know, people were deriving some revenue from their residential rental licensing programs, but they passed a statute back in 2016, which was amended in 2019, which basically killed all those programs because you have to get the occupant's consent to enter, whereas before you didn't have to. And so they can't charge it to every unit. And so effectively that killed most of those programs.
Thank you. I'll stand it.
Councilman Wayne.
If Mr. Mahomes would like to call, I will take his phone call. Just leave that out there. Otherwise, no, I'm good.
Okay.
Nothing tonight, thank you.
Councilman.
Tonight was a banner night for spending money, or at least, you know, authorizing for bonds, $64.5 million. You know, that's not typical, and I still want to say kudos to finance and Jim and Kellen that, you know, these projects, you know, we still take low bids. We're trying to make them efficient, and we have to budget conservatively. So, you know, a whole lot of it you can't change because of regulatory pressure from the state or the Fed or wherever. So I still think we're doing a great job with that. I appreciate the work. I know it is a sticker shock and it's not good, and I would love for the numbers to be half, but you know, it is what it is. So thanks for working through it.
And I'll add on to that. It's encouraging to see that we're, you know, in the middle. We're a growing city, but we're still in the middle of rates in surrounding communities. And so I think that speaks to, you know, the conservative and approach for a growing city. I mean, we're going to have expenses, so I think we can do well to keep them in line with that. Everyone. I have nothing further. Move to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
Motion Deaton, second Shoot. We adjourn. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Abstained? Thank you, everyone.